Hey everybody, welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV and of course NoDQ.com. Hope you're all having a good weekend. Got a lot of questions here, so let's just get right to it. Hey Aaron, first timer here. Do you think WWE ruined Daniel Bryan's momentum by keeping him as a heel after his huge reactions from Mania, Raw, and even SmackDown before he called people sheep? That must have been hard to do. The thing about Daniel Bryan is that they just turned him heel a few months ago, and he's been awesome. Ever since he turned heel, he's been doing tremendous. He took the ball and he ran with it. And I think it would be way too soon to turn him back to face. The thing is, for me, I think they need to push Daniel Bryan harder as a credible performer. Let him actually win some big matches without a lot of outside interference. I think WWE's problem is they don't like to have these heels be dominant at all. They want the heels to always win by some kind of fluke or with outside interference or whatever. But when you're making the guy world champion or putting him in a world title situation, I think you need to make him just a little bit more credible with the fans. And you could still have him cheat or do whatever to win matches. I mean, I love the storyline with AJ because it's a way of building up Daniel Bryan as a heel because he has to use a woman to get ahead. And just everything WWE has done with him has been excellent up to this point, and besides WrestleMania, of course. But as long as they keep pushing him and let him do his thing as a heel, I think he can have a very good run for the next 6 months or so, and eventually they can turn him back to face or whatever if he continues to build up momentum. So that's what I think. Hey Aaron, when will Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio come back, and do you think we will see them anytime soon, and how would you build up the match? Answer on video. Regarding Rey Mysterio, I believe he will be back sometime around May. The thing with Rey Mysterio is that he didn't want to rush his return. He has gotten hurt so many times and come back too soon, and then he gets hurt, and then he has to take more time off. So he decided he was just going to wait out. He waited out on WrestleMania, so you know, he really wants to be able to come back at 100%. So I suspect Rey Mysterio will be back in the next month or so. And Sin Cara, he got hurt around Survivor Series, and he should be back pretty soon as well, probably before SummerSlam. A lot of talk about doing Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara. It was originally an idea for WrestleMania 28. They were going to do the mask thing with trying to break the world record for the most masks in one building or whatever it was. If it was me, I wouldn't wait until WrestleMania 29 to do that match, just because with their track record, you never know when one of them is going to get hurt again, and Sin Cara was suspended before. So I think the time to do Rey Mysterio versus Sin Cara would be at SummerSlam. Once again, I'm mentioning SummerSlam as something where they should do a big match, but it's not just because I'm going to be there. Let's put it that way. I think doing Sin Cara versus Rey Mysterio at Staples Center in Los Angeles would work really well. You have a huge Hispanic market there, and when I go to all those shows, there's a large amount of Hispanic people in the crowd. It just makes sense to me to do the match there, and that city, LA, has a big history with Lucha Libre, and I just think that's the way to go. Do it at SummerSlam. Don't wait till WrestleMania 29. But you never know what they're going to do. Hey Aaron, do the Motor City Machine Guns remind you of London and Kendrick? Also, do you think if WWE did build the tag division back up, that they would try to get Motor City Machine Guns and maybe Beer Money? The thing is, I'm not so sure if WWE has interest in anybody from TNA right now. I suppose if TNA went out of business, which at this point, I mean, they just renewed their deal with Spike TV, so at least for the next 2 years, TNA will more than likely be around. And if WWE, for whatever reason, did decide to hire Motor City Machine Guns or Beer Money, the fact is they're not creations of Vince McMahon. I don't think Vince McMahon would want to have those tag teams that were established in TNA on his show. He would want to repackage those guys and do something different with them. That's just the way that Vince McMahon is. So I don't really see if any of those guys come in, I don't think they'll be coming in as a tag team. I think that they would come in as individuals with their own gimmicks, probably something different from what they've been doing in TNA. That's just the way I think Vince McMahon would want to do it. Why are some of the internet geeks so high on The Miz? I don't get it myself. His mic work is mediocre at best, and his in-ring work is worse. I remember his job boys on WCW Saturday Night that were better workers than him. Answer in video, please. I don't think there's anything wrong with The Miz in terms of either his in-ring work or his mic work. Regarding his mic work, I was at SummerSlam in 2010, and he had the crowd in the palm of his hand. I mean, they were reacting to everything he did. He struck all the right notes with that audience and got them to they wanted to boo him so badly. They just despised this guy who was talking trash. I mean, he was just being an excellent heel. So I think The Miz is very good on the mic, actually, and not the best in the ring. I mean, he's good, but he doesn't really stand out like a Dolph Ziggler would stand out. But he's very good. I think the problem with The Miz, if there is a problem with him, it's that he just doesn't look like a tough guy. He doesn't look like a guy that could kick somebody's ass. And I don't think that's his fault. I don't think that's the writing in WWE's fault, although they could attempt to do a better job with him. I mean, the way he was booked at Survivor Series last year, I mean, that did him absolutely no favors. But I just think that that's a problem that nobody can really fix. I mean, The Miz just doesn't come off as that intimidating. And I think he'll always have a spot in WWE. He'll always be somewhere towards the top, but I don't know if he's exactly the guy that's going to carry the company. That's just the way I see it personally. And they did give him somewhat of a push, and it didn't pan out as well as they had hoped. Although it was successful to somewhat of a degree, because when he was champion, he got them a ton of publicity. He was doing all those interviews, and I think the fans respect The Miz because he's a guy that he went from the very bottom. He was on Real World, but when he came into WWE, he was just an announcer, and he slowly worked his way up to the top. And he just didn't come in and get the big push and became a star just like that. So I think that's why people are high on him, because he did work his way up to the top. If WWE was to end Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania 29, do you think it would be a good idea to have him lose to someone like Dolph Ziggler, as he is the best performer in the business right now? I've mentioned this before. If WWE was to end Undertaker's streak, which I don't think they should, but if they decided to do that, or if Mark Calloway decided he wanted to put somebody over on the way out, it would need to be against somebody that the company was really going to go behind as the guy to be number one in their company for the future. I don't really know if they're behind Dolph Ziggler at that level, and I don't know if they're ever going to be at that level where they're going to see Dolph Ziggler. I mean, when I mean like the guy, I mean like you go back to like Steve Austin. WWE put everything they had into Steve Austin. Are they going to do that with Dolph Ziggler? I highly doubt it, to be honest with you. So I don't think it should happen unless they decide that they like something happens with Dolph Ziggler or somebody else like that, and they want to push that guy as the guy. I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't see it happening. What do you think about Eric Bischoff's comments on the ratings of Ultimate Fighter? Isn't it funny that he gloats when an episode of Ultimate Fighter does less than Impact, but won't dare compact Impact to any WWE show or pay-per-view from WWE or the UFC? Yeah, it's kind of funny that Bischoff won't mention anything about the pay-per-view buy rates. I mean, those are like, I don't even know what the fraction is between a TNA pay-per-view and a UFC pay-per-view. So when it all comes down to it, it doesn't matter how many people are watching your show. What matters is if the people watching the show are going to spend money on your product. Are they going to buy the pay-per-views? Are they going to buy merchandise? Are they going to attend live events? These are all things that Eric Bischoff conveniently doesn't mention. And I guess since, as I mentioned earlier, since TNA signed a new deal with Spike for Impact, at least for the next 2 years, Eric Bischoff is safe pretty much. So he feels he can say whatever he wants and get away with it. But yeah, it is kind of funny when you look at the big picture. Hey, do you have an opinion on Tito Ortiz joining WWE? He suggested that this would be his next career move after his fight with Forrest. Would it be good or bad for business? It would be good for business. I mean, he's a very well-known name, so if he came into WWE, I'm sure it would garner quite a bit of mainstream publicity for WWE. So that's a win right there. And he's a guy, he's a wrestling fan, he's an athlete, he likes to entertain people, so makes logical sense for me to give WWE a shot when his fighting career is over. And I'm sure there's a lot of guys in UFC when they're done that they'll want to give WWE a chance because it's just an easier way to make money, although not really easier when you have to go on the road 250 days out of the year. But maybe some of these guys will want to give it a shot and try, because you got to keep in mind that a lot of these UFC fighters, they grew up as wrestling fans. So, I mean, they're fans of sports entertainment, and it's just natural for them being in front of the camera in general, not just being an athlete, but entertaining people. So, yeah, I think it would work out very well for all parties. All right, that'll wrap things up for today's edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks, as always, for watching. Make sure you check out NoDQ.com for all the latest regarding lockdown. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for updates regarding Extreme Rules coming up on pay-per-view. And we'll see you next time.